Yo, 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 yo! What's up, YouTubers? What are you talking about? Oh, water, water everywhere, not a drop to drink. Okay, so in this episode of, well, they know this is a clean shirt. I was gonna say same shirt, different day, but I put on a clean shirt, had a shower and everything. Try to take a shower at least once a week. You know, every Sunday, whether I need it or not. Then it turns out the Sabbath is Saturday, so had to switch it up a little bit. You know, you want to really keep them guessing. You know what I'm saying? So let's talk water. Okay, you gotta have some water. This here be water. I couldn't find a gallon of water; they were sold out. So I went to the baby section. Got me some water. It's about $1. Still want to run it through the filter. I got the filter. Actually, it's put up underneath the thing. I did not get it out. I did not filter that water. Shame on you, Skip. You didn't filter your water. I did not filter that water. It's baby fresh. We'll call that good on this deal. Okay, so there's filtering your water. So let's say that you're going to obtain some water from the store, from the tap, from the creek, from the lake, from the pond. What do we do? Okay, so we want to get a bottle. Put your, I actually like socks. Take your extra socks out of your pack. Put it over that deal. Clean. The inside, the way they make a sock, it does more than like a t-shirt for the filtration into the collection bottle. So the sock filter of a decent sock will actually, as a first step, it seems to work better. And then so you collect. Okay, now you can pour that through a filter. So basically you can have, like, you know, little rocks to slightly bigger rocks, however you see fit. Pour that through that, let it come out the bottom. So that's a way to filter. You can buy a filter, you can make a filter, filter everywhere. Where'd it come from? I don't know. But if you have a gutter, a rain gutter, and you put creek gravel in your rain gutter, and then a little bit of dirt, and then you can put little plants and stuff in there, and gutter down to here, gutter down to there, gutter good, all the way down here to your trough of water. The bird poop off of your roof will actually fertilize your plants. And by the time it gets to the bottom, there ain't no poopy in there. No poopy. No poopy no more. So then you can collect that water. I would still boil that at that point. I would put the proper rocks in the gutter that has the nutritional goodness. You know, so like your flint rocks. Excellent. Absolutely excellent. I love a good flint rock in the gutter. So, go to your average creek in Oklahoma. The creek rocks are good there. To northeastern Oklahoma, if you're in the mountains, you'll find some creeks. And then I believe the state of Kansas has some interesting rocks you can put in there as well to add the mineral content. You can change the minerals, actually change the flavor of the water. Who knew? Anyways, the flow can be directed with a flapper valve. So at a certain point, it has enough pressure to send the water down. And then through your chutes and ladders, collect. You know, that's pretty intense. You know what I mean? You got a lot going on. Okay? Then there's just like, you know, I got some leaves and some gravel in a 1 liter bottle. And, like, you know, I put some sand in the bottle. I put some sand. And I put some other stuff that's a little bigger than sand. It's a bigger rock. Pour the water in the top. I got a hole in the bottom of it that's dripping out into something else. You know, filter, okay? Filter. Water, filter. What are you doing to filter your water and eat plants? Cool. All right. So, then you got like chemical stuff you can put in there. I do not do that. Do I have some chemical tabs to put in the water? Shake it up, wait a while. the chemical kill what's inside the water? Yes, I have that. I have some of those somewhere in here as well. But no, I do not know the name of it or where to get them. I used to get them at Walmart all the time. They got them there no more. And then I also have the filters, the Sawyer Mini. I have a bunch of those. Apparently they don't sell those anymore at Walmart. Not sure what happened with that deal, but anyway, that was real good because you could screw it right on the bottle. So you could put your socks over it, collect, and then screw your Sawyer on there, hang it up in a tree, and then have your collection pot down at the bottom. It'd come back, it'd go in one bottle, collection, and then right back out that bottle through a filter into a secondary clean collection. So that was real good. And then, I mean, you could get real intricate and just dang near moonshiner with the heat the water up. So you can boil your water to clean it up. So if you filter it with a sock and then you boil it, it's probably still going to taste less than you'd like. And if it's that bad, you're probably walking somewhere. Let's see, what did I do with that deal? I did not prepare at all for this. Oh, maybe it's this thing. Maybe. Oh, there's peanut butter jelly. Okay, check this out. This stuff right here. Now you can get this in a, what's this called? Man, that's backwards. GLYCEROL. Watermelon candy flavored. Okay, so that, some of these people that work out stuff, they take that stuff, and there's a kind of it that's powder, right? And then what it is, I think it's just like sugar water, to be honest with you. However, a cap full of that stuff is actually in this, and it tastes like really good Kool-Aid. So watch, this is what we do. So we get this, you want to drink about a gallon of this a day, of fresh water, not the glycol or whatever like that. This whole gallon had half a cap in it. And the workout people say that saves on your muscles from being degraded during a workout or whatever. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. You know what I mean? I don't even know what to do with my hands. So then you got this pot right here. Okay, you see this pot? This is a stainless steel pot. If I put water in here and then I put a bowl inside there floating on top of the water, and then I do this. Watch it, put that on my Bible. Now I can do this. Turn it upside down. Okay, the water will run to the lowest point, then drip into the bowl that is floating inside there. So it'll heat up, steam up, and then drip. And of course, this lid's got a little hole in it, which keeps it from exploding. So you do not want that. Explosions? Explosion bad. So they're heating the water, then there's also distilling the water. There's some way that you could, get real fancy with some cord and make your own fuel, that you can do the ethanol thing in a flex fuel vehicle. If you're at scale and everything, and by the time your inputs from burning the wood to the point of creating a steel, getting the alcohol, and then running the vehicle off. I mean, you probably better off spending your time building a steam-powered engine that you could just throw wood into a regular fire to make steam. That would probably be easier than, rednecking your own ethanol to drive around in the apocalypse. I find that diesel is more stable. I find it's more easy to reproduce from the well, but that depends on whether or not you live in Texas, where there's like random wells everywhere to strategically acquire the necessities of get her done. In the apocalypse, of course. Any of this stuff is post-event. I would highly recommend that you just keep an extra $20 bill and get some water at the store. But if that's not an option, for whatever reason, like, do you have a car? Does that car have water in it? Do you have a container, like a Ziploc lidded square container with a gallon of water in a Ziploc bag inside of that? Because now you're potentially, hey, you got a Ziploc bag with some water in it, and then you got your Tupperware and everything like that. So if this bag leaks, you're not making a mess in the car. If it gets cold outside, you forgot that this bag of water's in the spare tire rack thingy underneath the back of your SUV floor. If it freezes and busts, you don't have a gallon of water making a mess. Okay, so Ziploc bag full of water in a container with a lid snapped tight, and to have that in every vehicle. I know it sounds ridiculous. It does sound ridiculous, but it'll save you, and then you'll be saved. So it's great savings. You know, Jesus saves. You know, I mean, so that's good. I think you got like your, your steel just to do your water. So water everywhere. Where's the drop I will drink? Boils down to. Was that a natural pun? What's this boil down to? Yeah. So I mean that's water. So what are you gonna do when you need food, water, shelter? You might have an off-grid shack on the side of a hill, and you're thinking to yourself, how can I make sure I got the vitamins and minerals that I need and pre-position this before? Well, it turns out you can buy minerals at the store in a sack, and then you can also do the sheep and goat medicated salt lick is a thing. I think for $37 you probably have enough minerals for your family for longer than the apocalypse. You know, I guess tribulation's 7 years. So, I mean, you want to double that because you want to take care of your neighbor. So you figure you and your neighbor, and everybody's got 12 relatives, then rando. So you need about 30 to 45 people's worth of salted minerals, and then you can just work them to get the rest of it. But man, it's hard to come across the salt minerals. You know, historically speaking, salt, very, very, very valuable, very valuable. And I think that's how the Mormons got their start. They did such a good takeover for the areas they took over. It was the salt trade. And look at curing meats and all kinds of stuff. You know, when it's grid down, you need to get something caked up with the salt so you can have some dinner when there's nothing else to eat. You know, your canning products and all sort of kind of stuff. Like, you need salt in your body, literally. So that's a big deal. You might be able to use those medicated things in your chutes and ladders designed for filtration. That's a possibility. Something you want to look into on your own, and that's got to stay away from the roots. And will also, if it's salty, stop the roots from getting too big, which ain't nothing to sneeze at if you've ever tried to do it, because turns out plants grow really good in the right conditions, and then they overgrow your apparatus, and you're stuck starting over because, like, you're, all root and no produce. So that could be used to offset that. That's real good. And then I mean, that's water. Like, water you talking about? Put it down in the comments. How do you? Oh, that's that flavor. Your pond water is better than drinking out of unflavored pond water. You know, if you filter the water out of the river, it tastes like water out of the river. So if you have some way to flavor that, now you could go plumb silly and, pay $12 to $16 for these little packets. Then you take your packet, dump it in your water, wherever else like that. I paid $3 for that thing, and half a cap will do a gallon. Pretty sure that, you can find a way to enhance your ability to walk home in the apocalypse. You know what I mean? So I want to retain my hard fought for calories and nutrition So that's why I use that stuff right there specifically for Get Home. And then, there was something else I was going to talk about. Oh, check out my other channel. We got a new channel. It's Skip's 5 Minute Ministries. I tried to keep it 5 minutes. The joke, it wasn't really a joke, but like I witness to people and I tell jokes to make an introduction to this random person with the point of getting them to read the Bible for themselves. You know what I mean? Because in the moment that they'll read it for themselves, it's between them and God. Like, I can't mess that up. You know what I'm saying? Like, regardless. I mean, like, the pressure is, off of my back. I have done the best I could. Like, read the Word, let the Word be your teacher. But, like, how am I going to just walk up and tell you that without, like, some kind of, rapport? You know what I mean? And that comes through the questions. And then I use a joke because it's funny to, the question is the joke, and then the punchline, and you can see where they're at type of deal. And then, but the prayer preceding that, the preparation is the prayer where we all as a unit pray for God to draw the lost to Himself and give Him the ability to shake off the wiles of the devil long enough to hear some common sense, plausible, applicable Bible goodness, enough to be hungry to need more and realize that the Bible is the source. You know what I mean? That holy water. You know what I mean? Big deal there. So, the other channel is Skip's 5 Minute Ministry. You can find it here on YouTube. Probably more digestible, little bites. They're averaging about 8 minutes. It's supposed to be 5 minutes, but, I get on here and try to talk for 6 minutes about water filtration. Because, everybody's prepared for the end of the world, and we got to get back to basics. Got to get back to basics of the Bible. Got to get back to basics of survival. And some make it make sense, like some basics of, if you're worried about politics, then go to the city council and influence them towards your goal. You know what I mean? Like, Donald Trump does not. He's not come to dinner. You know what I mean? Nancy Pelosi did not one single time show up at my house and say, this is what we need to talk about. The sheriff come over. I've seen some firefighters. Definitely paid $7,000 to the local school via property tax. So, I got a reason to talk with some people about some things that are directly affecting my life for real. And they're touchable, they're reachable, they're touchable. And if they know that we can reach out and touch them, and we will, then they will represent us more honestly due to accountability. You know what I mean? And then you don't have to get all foghorn leghorn. My God, this and that. We ought to go down there with some pitchforks. I'm gonna light a torch. I'm gonna go down there and I'm gonna say, you son of a three-legged dog. Yeah. Just go down there and be like, okay, I read your policy here and it says XYZ. Why is that a good thing? See, it's a question. Now I can say, hey, sheriff of my county, hey, mayor, hey, person on the school council, I have a question about this. Can you explain that to me? Can you explain this thing to me? Can you make it make sense? And let them figure out that they need to do things differently, or congratulate what they're doing right. Either way, you've influenced the politicals that directly affect your family to think about policy. So if they're in control, and they are, make no mistake about that, if they're in control of what the kids around my house are hearing and thinking and learning, then just because I'm a member of the community, doesn't matter if I have kids or not, just because I'm a member of the community, I have a duty to go to this school meeting and be like, hey, school board, make it make sense, whatever, and bring up these topics and stuff like that. And, maybe go down there and like 6 or 7 times while they're having their shindig and just be helpful and just ask a few questions. Don't go down there and be like, well, I'm so and so and you're so and you work for me, and just be a dick. I mean, like, you're going down there to talk to the people that have influence over the children of the community, whether that's the city council, the school board, whatever like that. And you can go down there and just be the guy that asks good questions, like, hey, pretend to be stupid. That works real good. The Bible says assess everyone else as smarter than you, right? So just be like, hey, council person, grab some money, bill HR 2505.3 section C. It says that I need to give you $7,000 so you can build a building that has round windows instead of square windows. Can we just get like the $3,000 windows that are square? It's easier to frame it, and then it's half price, and then we could use the other money to buy the other window, and then we'll cut this building budget down so that you can have more books or whatever you need. I don't think that the town of 100,000 people needs a 172 seat football 172,000 football stadium. You know what I mean? Can you explain to me why there's more money going into a football stadium than there is into the auto mechanics? Everybody here drove here in a car, and I hope the next generation can fix mine when I'm so old I can't barely get out of bed. And it ain't looking good because they're all knocking each other in the head out here under the, Friday night lights. And I'm paying you $7,000 a year. Can we work on an old Nova? Can we just put a Quonset hut over there in the corner of the field and just work on cars a little bit? Here, I mean, you really can't go in there as a mom and say, hey, my kids, they have no idea how to actually make a pizza from scratch. They don't know how to do laundry. They're eating Tide Pods. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. Can we get home ec back in the, you know what I mean? Can we get some home ec? You know what I mean? Childhood obesity rates, diabetes. Can we get some nutritional information? The whole entire country is in a debt cycle, and private and corporate debt is double the known $37 trillion of federal government debt. So we're closer to $70 trillion in debt. I'm sure you guys are smarter than me, but can we teach these kids how to balance a budget? Can we get some financial education in here? Maybe we don't. Hear me out. This is crazy, Mr. Councilman. But instead of a book about Billy's got two daddies and bedroom talk, or contraception talk, and all this other stuff you guys do, talking about reproduction, how about you just don't talk about that at all? Because it's fucking weird. And it goes against my personal beliefs and the beliefs of everybody in this room on one topic or another. So how about it's just fucking weird for any adult to talk to any child about sexual intercourse outside of a biology class where it's scientific. You know what I mean? Like we don't need all this other stuff. We don't need all of that. You know what I mean? We don't. It's why? What for? If you're worried that somebody's different and they're being bullied because of that, how about we teach all the kids not to bully each other? You know what I mean? Like, I don't have to say Sally is a dude, because that's reinforcing delusion. But I don't have to say anything, good or bad. You know what I mean? So look here, Mr. Pronouns. I'm just worried about nouns. People, places, and things. Let's focus there. Yeah, like why don't we do that? You might want to bring up some of this stuff after you've built some rapport. Closer to election, where you're going to ask all these other people that show up, hey, I'm Skip-a-potamus, and I want to be on your school board to stop the implementation of wasteful spending. I want to stop wasting this money. Like, we could have what's already here. Like we don't need round windows and a 4-story entrance to the high school. Like, just all that entryway money. Just pump the brakes on that. We can't afford that. We don't need the Taj Mahal of a building that is here to educate the children, and then the children are not educated. I would rather that they stand out in a field under a tent and actually be taught how to change the oil on their car and how to balance a budget and cook dinner. You might want to bring that up later on. But yeah, just show up at every one of them and ask a question. Just consistently. Ask a question, look into it, see what they say, ask a question the next time. Okay, follow up. Be there, do that. You know what I mean? What are you doing to bring life to these children? The moisture of life. You don't want to be all dried out. You don't want these kids all dried out. You don't want the teachers all dried out. And if you go somewhere to the parent-teacher conference, this is the standard of DGRAF. I walk into the room where I'm going to trust this person with my child's education. They will influence my child to believe this, that, or the other. Whatever subject topic that they decide to talk about. I will be elsewhere when this happens. So, for whatever reason, there's the snowpocalypse, and everybody's stuck at my house. My house, the power is out. So we put everybody into one room. Okay, but everybody is just my wife, kids, and this teacher. There's a bed, some blankets. Y'all got to pile in there together because you're going to freeze to death if you don't. That's the scenario. Walk in that room, that parent-teacher conference, look at that teacher. Do you trust that subbitch to lay in bed with your wife and kids under those circumstances? And that dude's straight up. That woman is straight up. If you look at him, you're like, fuck no. Why do you let your kids in there? Why would you do that? Like, for real, like if it's an emergency situation, you know what I'm saying? The poo has been dispersed. The fan is dripping wet. Everything's covered. Anyway, the shit hit the fan for whatever reason. You know what I mean? It's like a snowstorm, right? And the teacher, for whatever reason, brought the kid home from school. And then, boom, blizzard. And power's out. And there's just like, y'all get in the master bedroom, and you got all the blankets from the whole house, and y'all pile up in the bed together to sleep. And to huddle together for warmth so you do not die. Is this dude going to cop a feel? Is this dude going to be out of line? To whatever degree. Is this guy man enough to get a separate blanket and sleep in the fucking floor? Because that's what I would do under those circumstances. For the record. You know what I mean? Like if I'm at your house and your wife and kids, I'm going to take care of your wife and kids, and I'm going to sleep in the floor. And I prove that. That's not a thinking situation. I literally was in Peggs, Oklahoma. I drove down by the creek, And there's these two girls down there, scantily dressed, by the side of the creek. And I said, what the hell are y'all doing out here? This right before I got my CDL. And I was married to Tracy and everything. And I knew a guy. And he let me stay at his house and everything. I had come back to situate, sort out the license stuff, and do the requirements of the DUI school. And I'm doing handyman jobs and stuff like that. Like, I called one dude when I showed up. I got there at 1 o'clock, and by 1:30 I was like mowing the grass at the Harp's grocery store, because the dude's got like a lawn service or whatever. So just as soon as I touch down, I'm working, right? So I'm working, I'm going, I'm doing. I'm coming back from a job, I'm crossing the bridge, I look down there, here's these two girls down there, whatever, it's like that. And I'm like, are y'all broke down or what? Like, what's going on? And they're like, no, this and that. And I was like, where are you staying at tonight? They're like, oh, we're just going to stay here and see what happens. And they're like, this is the place where I have seen a variety of drunken, dumb shit. And yeah, very, very bad. Tweakers kept through there, all kinds of stuff. Every form of sin you can imagine has happened down there by that bridge. And here they are, just hanging out like a couple trolls. Anyway, I'm like, well, if you guys don't have nowhere to go, you can stay at the house. So I load them up, go to the house. Well, the house where I was at, I had an air mattress and 2 blankets. And I let them have the whole entire room. And I slept on the floor with my extra clothes as a blanket. And we were there and busted out a Bible, talking everything about Bible stuff and everything. And there's something else. Oh, when I left, I took them. One of them had a place over in Locust Grove or whatever like that, and had some friends they were going to stay with or whatever. And so I took them over there and dropped them off where they were meant to go. And probably 3 months later, I'm in town. I'm with Tracy, and I'm sitting at the neighborhood Walmart, waiting on somebody to come out. And me and Tracy sitting there, and this girl walks up and everything, and they're like, "Hey, Skip, how's it going?" And she proceeds to tell my wife how they were hanging out and everything, and that, I had integrity and I was a good man and I did right by them and everything. And they had started going to church because of it. They had started going to church because of that. You know what I mean? So in that moment, here I am, I'm out of town, I'm a married man. These girls were, they were, barely legal or not legal. You know what I mean? As far as like, they 18 or not. You know what I mean? And which I didn't ask for fucking ID or anything like that. That doesn't cross my mind, you know what I mean? But later on, somebody said to me, I was at the mini mart, and somebody said, they said, you need to watch out about girls like that. That's jailbait. And I looked at that dude. I said, do you have any idea? Do you have the slightest clue what I'm about? He's like, oh yeah, this, that, and everything, but this and that. I was like, you're not going to talk me out of doing the will of God just because I'm afraid that somebody else is going to say something about it, dude. Like, you're going to need a lot more spine in the upcoming struggle than to be scared that so-and-so said, that so-and-so said, that so-and-so said, whatever, based on the fact that y'all are eat up with demonic evil to the point that you can't even conceive of a grown man sheltering young girls from the world for a night until they can figure out where they're going. You know what I mean? Like, it just makes my stomach turn. You know what I mean? That the world is that bad, and it really, well, I mean, part of me kind of wants to cry. You know what I mean? And then the other part of me is like, I need to find whoever's guilty of making these things. If the situation is so rampant that the average person would think that. Like, I need to get some type of platform, pulpit, whatever, and preach, and just like once a year read the entire law to them and explain to them that hell is real and God will send you there. Because hell is real and God will send you there. And Jesus' blood is the only covering you got. And if you think that you got Jesus, so you're just going to do whatever to whomsoever, and he's got your back, you are in for a very rude, very, very intense awakening to the fact that depart from me, I never knew you type of deal is very possible. I'll never condemn nobody because I don't know. That's between you and God. But that's got to be the most dangerous situation you can put yourself in. It's got to be. It's got the going to hell is the worst. It doesn't get any worse. I've been to prison. I've died with $1,000 plate meals. I've seen good. I've seen bad. I've seen various things throughout, and I am not perfect. By no means am I perfect. But I damn sure got enough grit to take care of somebody when they need some help and do right by them, and then set an example for everybody in the community, apparently, because nobody else around there had any intentions of stopping at that bridge to help them girls get on with their life in a biblical manner. But because God put me there in that moment, and He knows our path. God has a plan for you before the foundation of the earth. He knew you. The way we look at time, before the foundation of the earth, was it 6 days? Was it 6,000 year periods? Was it 4,286,752 blah blah blah? Big numbers, so I sound official. Years old. Don't know. Don't really care, to be honest with you. I mean, if I'm in a mood to look it up and try to get to the nuance of it to know God better, cool. But right now in this video, don't care. Doesn't matter. Doesn't apply to this topic and subject matter. What mattered was a man doing the right thing for the right reason in the community, setting a standard based on biblical standards, and a similar situation today. I walk in there, I tell a couple jokes, whatever, I'm making some coffee, I grab a shower, whatever like that, and I come back out, and I'm talking to that girl, and, she, had issues, and she was overcompensating by being nice, and then she opened up to me and said some things which I will not say because it violates trust. Okay? So, anyway, I was like, this is a good thing, this, that, and the other, whatever like that. And then I came out, I got some Bibles, and I was able to mark some stuff very specific. And I will say this. Early on, there was a death of a mother, and the father just pulled away from everything in depression. And the dude was a preacher. So to even bring up the Bible, it's like mom's gone and dad abandoned me, and that there's any, something bad, like he would just walk away. But if everything was good and happy, he would hang out for a while. So the compensation was act like everything's cool no matter what, or I don't get to see dad. And showing all the stuff about dad in the book, bro, and then being able to identify that and put these little arrows and stuff like that, and write something in there and being real personal and stuff like that with this Bible, and then give it. And then I do to give her 2 Bibles, not 1, and I give that to her and everything. I go back in the store, right? Okay, so all these truck stops got this glass that looks pretty cool. So I'm standing there because I was like, I'm supposed to get a card or something. And I walked around, I didn't see her. I walked around, I looked, and I knew I was supposed to give away 3 other Bibles. Had an hour-long Bible study walking up there with 2 different people, give away a couple Bibles, talked to that guy right over there for 45 minutes on the way back. The dude that walked by that was looking at me, waving, I give him a Bible and everything. The truck wouldn't start when I come back, so I had to call for some stuff or whatever, and it did like this whole thing, talked to 5 people from the boss man and all the office people. I'm like, look, if you have 1 phone number for breakdowns, like, it just play hot potato. Like, don't tell me call so-and-so. Just 1 phone number, this person deals with it. And when this person needs a break, hand it to the next person that's qualified to deal with it. I mean, I've been trying to tell them over and over and over, but I think we got some things that switched up in the back office that there's actually some opportunity to, set a culture of excellence and do right. Anyway, so I'm walking around there looking, I'm thinking card or something, you know what I mean? Like, he is your dad, talk to him type of deal. And God has came through for me in so many ways my entire life on a daily basis that I want everybody to have that relationship, right? And I was thinking, man, this girl doesn't need to think that she has to put on a show to get to dad, basically. And then I went in there and I was looking at, I found that case with all that glass and stuff. I was like, which one? I was just kind of hanging out. And then here she came off a break. And she's walking back over there. I say, hey, can you help me with this case? And they get the keys or whatever. And I'm like, which one do you think is cool? And I was looking, and there was like there was a couple of them, but there was a little flower with a hummingbird, and it's like glass or whatever, got a little stand. And it had caught my eye straight out the gate. And I said, which one do you like? And then that's the one she picked. So see, like, in that moment, I was very much, God, what do I do? What do I say? How do I go about this effective? I don't know this person. I have no idea. I just talked to this person while I was making some coffee. Okay? So, like, I'm fully relying on God's inspirations to say, do, act, and be appropriate in the moment for the betterment and the best of the kingdom. Okay, I'm representing God to this girl that's like having a struggle, and she picked that out. So we go up there and they're like, well, we got to put this in something that it doesn't break or whatever. And I said, well, just pack it up however you think is best, and it should be all right. I paid for it and everything. I think it was $29. I said, that's for you. That's from God. And here's these Bibles right here. And she's just like, I was like, God's our dad. That's what even Jesus called him Father, right? So I was like, God's our dad, and he's tough enough. It doesn't matter which situation you're in. You can just be yourself with him. And she's just like, oh my God, or whatever, and she's all happy and stuff. And yeah, that's about it. I walked out of the store, but I gave her that stuff, and I was able to deliver the other three. And I had a risk of saying too much about it right now in this video. Very specifically, I want you to note that I stood at that cabinet and said, which one? And I noticed there was one beside it. I was like, it's this or that one. And then the other one that was obviously like not something the girl would like. And I'm like, it's got to be that. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, because it says test the spirits. So how do we test the spirits? Like how do you do that? Like I can't, what do I do? I compare what the spirit tells me, or the feelings, the gut feelings, the heart checks, all this stuff. I gotta go back to the Bible and do what the Bible says, and find where the Bible says it, and all this other kind of stuff like that. And as I do that interaction, if you're good with a little, he'll give you a lot, and you just keep talking about it. You talk about the Bible in the morning, at noon, at night. You talk about the Bible all the time, and the bad ones will run away. Like, I've literally seen somebody that I've talked to about the Bible see me at the store and turn around and go the other way. And then later in the store, I just see them out the side of my eye. I see them seeing me making motions to get away. You know what I mean? And like, I don't want to waste my time with that stuff anyways. I'd rather be on here talking to you. You know what I'm saying? And I'm kind of set apart in this truck from my family and the people I know and stuff like that and everything. So, I was in Oklahoma and everybody knew my name. Like, I could go in there and sit down and eat breakfast, and I would hear 5 different opportunities where somebody needed something done. Some of it might be working for free. Some of it might be a well-paying job. And I need to assemble a crew and go build a house for, $80,000 profit in 5 weeks. And then I might need to go, like, with a pickaxe and shovel, dig through flint rock and set a septic tank because they don't have a septic tank, and that's required for them to be able to get their new Indian trailer house, or the Indians or whatever like that. You know, I think there was, you know, but anyway, like out there for all week. Like, have you ever swung a pickaxe until it's wore down to the nub? Have you ever done that? Have you took a pickaxe, which of course the metal ain't worth a shit anymore, but we got one at Home Depot. I would swing it, and then dude would swing it, and then I would swing it, and just, I mean, that's where I learned to throw the towel down, so when it blows up in your face, you throw the towel down and beat the shit out of it, and pull the towel off, and then clean that out of the hole, and then throw the towel back in there and beat the shit out of it, and literally make little rocks out of small rocks, and they're flint. So, like, you know, you might have to put the towel out because it caught fire. You know, you guys out here bushcrafting and everything like that, like, I mean, how hard is it to start a fire? Well, out by Peggs, Oklahoma, you might start a fire digging a hole by mistake. Anyways, I'm making this way too long. But by me trying to ask and then letting her pick, and then it turned out to be the same one, was tremendous confirmation. And the more that you can do that, the more that you can do what you read and read about what you did after the fact. So there's been several times in my life where something will go down, and then I'll read a Bible story that is similar to that. And a lot of that's found in the Old Testament. 1st and 2nd Kings, 1st and 2nd Chronicles, some in Genesis and stuff like that. So there will be these for instances. And then, you know, if we're coming into a season where, you know, it's so concerning, you know, I mean, 20,000 missiles inbound. You know, what if you're just like Neo getting shot at and you're just like, no. Is that possible? Yeah, it is. Like, I'm serious, bro. I'm serious. Like, you could say to the mountain, be thou cast into the sea. The two witnesses, they're just like, no rain. You know what I mean? And if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and repent, God will heal their land. If the judgment of God is really shitty politicals, then favor from God is good, solid political people making policy that's directly due to, you know, Bible principles. And if you think that that's what's happening now, you might want to go ahead and read it again, because that ain't what's happening. There's still a whole lot of this, that, and the other. And the oh man, you're gonna die anyway. Your family's gonna die anyway. Doesn't matter. It does not matter whether or not you die, because you are going to die. Do not miss that. Sit down with your family tonight. Get your hair done real nice. Put this hat back on. Oh, dude gave me a hat. Dude gave me a hat. They tried to jumpstart the truck for me, but their little old car wouldn't hack it. Look at this hat they give me. Look at that. What does it say? One nation under God. Sit down with your family. Let me work this thing a little bit. Dang, look, it's already that big. Hang on a second. Now sit down with your family. Look at that. What's got a long bill? I like that. There's other here lately. I've been getting short billed hats. I'm like, you cheap suckers. Like, the point is to get the sun out of your eye. That's why we wear the hat. And then they're short. You know what I mean? This has got a nice long bill, like a duck-billed platypotamus. Duck-billed potamus. Anyways, so sit down with your family and be like, you're gonna die, and talk with them and explain to them that we're all gonna die and we're on God's good grace. You know what I mean? But it's the second death you got to worry about. 2 and 2. So it's the second death. And there's a lot in between here and there. It is not over yet. It is not over yet. Can you breathe? See? It ain't over. So, read the Word. Let the Word be your teacher. And whatever you're doing right now, as far as work and life and living, do it to the full. Do all your work like you're doing it for God Himself. And study on the ways to walk in the supernatural. How do I get qualified to tell the rain to stop and it actually stops? Well, I'm probably going to have to be called to that. Well, who does He call? It says many are called but few are chosen. Well, how am I going to stand out from the crowd to be chosen? You know, you're standing there in line. There's, you know, shirts and skins. We're playing basketball. And there's a captain of each team picking people. How do you get picked? You know what I mean? Like, what do you do? What are your attributes? What did God make you to do? Are you developing that to the utmost? Are you taking it to a level where God will look down and be like, He's ready. Give Him the power. You know what I'm saying? Are you going to take your tinfoil hat off and put on the cross? Speak to the nation? Get back to your white shirt roots? Is that what it is? I love the way God gives me special effects during my videos. If you're hanging on this long, I just want to tell you right now that, I mean, I consider you kinfolk. If you don't like me, you hate me, that's okay. I mean, like, I don't take it personal. Like, I care what you think. Sure, but you're not God. You're not going to decide my final destination. Okay, I know that upsets a lot of people. They want the power. I have the power. What are you trying to do today, Piggy? Try to take over the world. So here's the deal. When these violents try to take it by force, they're probably gonna. So be more violent than they are. I'm telling you that as a born-again Christian. As a born-again Christian, read the Bible, look at what Jesus said, look what He did, look how He lived, read the rest of it about when He's coming back. What are we supposed to be doing? Who's supposed to be in control of the earth, governing what is right? You know what I'm saying? Like if you ain't got the Holy Ghost, how you know, absolute power corrupts absolutely everybody. So if I am a slave to righteousness, a blood-bought, born-again, bond-servant of the gospel, obviously I do not have ultimate power. So I'm going to be a better governor because Sky Daddy's watching. And it ain't that I believe it. It's because I know. It ain't because of what you believe. It's because of what you know. It's because of your feelings. That'll have something to do with your actions. So when they come to a guy like me and they're like, hey, we're going to do X, Y, Z and give you these, you know, riches, gold, fame, fortune, power. I'm like, sorry, I already sold my soul to Jesus. I'm sold out. There's no soul here to trade. It's washed in the blood. Okay? So in that moment that there's, you know, two chicks at the creek, it's like, hey, do you want to come to my house for the night? How does that even sound? And then like straight up with them, read the Bible with them. Here, y'all have the bed. I'm going to go in this other room and sleep on the floor. We'll lay a couple shirts down in the floor and cover myself with my coat. Sleep there. Holler if you need anything. I think I fed them my dinner too. That's what it was. I only had it. What I was going to have for dinner, I split it in half and gave it to them. And yeah. So, anyways, through these trials, through these tests, through these various situations, you know what I mean? Do it right. 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 You know what I mean? And it's just the world's kicking you in the nuts the whole time. The whole entire time. It's just repeatedly just freaking foot to the goads. Hey, to the point where, like, when I come back to the truck and it wouldn't start, I'm just like, yeah, I'm doing something right today. You know what I mean? And this company has suffered over and over and over and over. And I'm like, why did I call 2 dispatchers, a load planner, the breakdown, night crew, the ops manager, the safety lady, and all this different stuff? Why am I communicating with 7 people when I need one person to answer the phone and be like, hey, the truck won't start, and that person clickety clack see my location and say, okay, we'll send somebody your way, right? And then they get into their network, call the local guy and be like, hey, network local guy, I need you to go to this location, bring these parts, do this service, send me the invoice. So the guy can show up, do whatever, send the invoice before he leaves. The proper person at my company receive an email, like a normal business, maybe even a text message, who knows, and then send the comp check to pay for the service, and then get the receipt of the comp check and be done with it. And whoever that is, doesn't matter. They just need to have the phone. So if they have the phone for breakdown and they leave, they can say, hello, guy coming to work, here's the hot potato. Because nobody wants to deal with that shit, right? So I call it the hot potato method. I even told them all that, like everything I just said. I sent it to each person individually. I'm like, look, man, I've been telling you all this shit for 5 years. Like, they're not listening to me. Why don't you take this to your boss and just say, hey, can I read this out loud at the meeting Monday morning? You know what I mean? And they got a new ops guy they fired a dude or whatever. I don't know, whatever. They switch up all the time. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, call, Jose. And I'm like, what's his number? They send me the number and it's Roxanne and my phone. I'm just like, you guys keep switching the names, but for me, because I've been here longer than all y'all, like, you can't buy experience. So you're here and you're the captain of the ship and you're trying to figure it out and float the boat and let's not make the fat trucker mad because he'll quit. He's actually our slave, so nothing's happening without this guy. And then, the mechanics and the, compliance and safety and sales and broker side, blah, blah, blah. Freaking get this stuff back and forth across the border, whatever. It's ridiculous. When I got pulled over, that guy said, oh, so you're the driver? I said, yeah, I'm a W-2 employee. He said, I've never had anybody ever say that to me before. I was like, well, you got W-4, you got W-2, you got 1099, which are actually misclassified. And I just go on and on trying to explain to this cop about the, and he didn't know what he was asking me because he didn't have a comprehension of the English language. So what he was saying is, do you own this truck or not? Are you an owner-operator? You know what I mean? Even then, it'd still be no because the bank owns the subbitch, or the truck is leased on to the authority, which would still make me a company driver. There's all kinds of lawsuits going on about misclassification all around the nation because these companies are dodging the taxes and putting it on their workers. So I'm always a W-2 guy because, like, why pay all the tax? You know what I mean? I'm also a company guy because why should I be trying to collect off this deal? You know what I mean? I'm competing with, these people that the competition is not very sophisticated. They will work for nothing, brother. I'm telling you right now, they will haul a load for 80 cents a mile. I've seen it. Like, there's no way that they're even covering fuel and maintenance and stuff. But they don't have the forethought of this cost, that cost, this one, this one, this one. They just look on there and say, oh, they're going to pay me $1,000 to haul this load. Well, they get in there, they take the load 3,000 miles across the country, and they spend $700 in fuel, but they're wearing the vehicle out. So they're going to have to buy another vehicle, and they got the payment and the insurance and on and on and on. Plus, like, what did you actually earn as an employee driving the truck? So I mean, if you're not operating at around $1.80 a mile, you're actually losing money to operate. And that's just facts in 2025. Just prorating all the expenses and stuff like that. Well, Soft Hand Slim just got off the boat, doesn't know that. So, anyways, I'm going to shut up. This is over an hour. Sorry about that. Rockell, go get them. May the force be with you. Oh, man. May the Holy Ghost be with you. And, like, jam out. Like, Rockell, you know what I mean? Like, rock and roll, God. You know what I'm saying? But Rockell actually came from, you know, I'm okay. Everything's okay over here. It's a code. Anyways, goes back to World War II. Go get them, y'all.